Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Schneider.
Here.
Commissioner Warren.
Here.
Commissioner Zender.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner Jarvis. Here. Chairman Moore.
Here. We always start our meetings with a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. Normally, as everybody is this morning, I don't know who should do the prayer.
Okay. But our Father, we join together to represent the people of the county to consider the business before us. As always, we ask for your guidance. We appreciate the fact that there are a number of citizens here that will give opinions on topics. One, better understand the issues that we face. We ask your special blessing upon all of the citizens of this county, and they face struggles in many various ways in their lives. But we also give you praise for your many, many gifts to us that make our life much different than for people around the globe. Thank you for all that you do. Help us to remember that. Amen.
Amen.
Lenny?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before the board, as you all can tell, my voice hasn't come back yet. Before the board, you'll see today's agenda. Are there any additions to this agenda? Nothing more, huh?
Mr. Chairman, there's one matter on here. I'd sort of like to request that we postpone discussion and consider it in closed meeting for later. One reference to
You can't put it in labor. You have to have an effort, put it into closed sessions, but not for labor.
I would suggest when we get down to that part, Kyle, just move it to next week's, it's gonna have to go to full board anyways. And then, if it's appropriate for later, then we'll bring it out. Okay.
Don't worry, we won't make you talk in a public meeting.
I'm not worried about talking in a public meeting.
You're not.
Move the agenda as presented.
Oh, you got a motion and support. All in favor, sing with saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consideration of the draft minutes, the October 14th, 2021 committee of the whole.
Motion to move. Support.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Overnight travel request, grant applications, and budget amendments are being distributed, and they'll be going around the dais this morning. If you see anything in there you object to, let us know. So we can bring it up. That brings us down to department head updates as needed. Department heads. Anybody want to, any department heads or elected officials want to talk with us this morning? I suppose everybody else is here for something else, I suppose. Hearing and seeing no one, I'll close the department head elected official updates. Brings us down to the first public time. Who would like to address this board during the first public time? Would you hold it to 2 minutes? There's a lot of you here. I don't know how many of you have requested to speak. We've all heard, we all know what it's about. We've all heard it before, so.
Well, I'm gonna talk at the first public time so that hopefully you consider my opinion before you speak about the resolution, because otherwise we don't get to talk until after you've already decided. So I would suggest to everybody else that they speak now as well. The Constitution is the supreme law of the United States. Most of us know this, but too many don't or ignore it. This resolution should not be necessary, but it is. The government is constantly threatening to pass and sometimes passing laws, rules, regulations, and their mandates that have no law behind them. And we must at least be as active as the government is. Every time they want to take away our liberties, we should be speaking out and doing something about it. This resolution is a powerful way to show what the people of Lapeer County think, and it passes it along. And we know that the resolutions work. I was involved with the Second Amendment sanctuary resolution. It passed here, and it passed in many other counties across the United States and across Michigan. And if you noticed, it stopped all of the nonsense that was going on that it passed in Virginia. And so I would say this is very important. It needs to be done. It does give us a nonviolent way of showing what we think. If you take away the nonviolent way, I hate to think what the other ways are going to be. And then I also heard that there was going to be some talk about how this was too broad and it's not going to, it would restrict, for instance, tuberculosis or some of the other diseases. Well, it says under the resolution, unless legislatively required by law. So those are already covered. Those would be exempt from this resolution. And it's all of the mandates and these rules that people are passing that have no basis in law that we want to stop from having rule over our lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm sorry to see Americans in a situation where we are necessarily being moved to assure our rights as citizens are being honored according to the Constitution. I am glad there are people doing it, however. I am of the opinion we may well be in that time right before the return of Christ, and we may be experiencing those kinds of birth pains. It makes a commissioner's job less enjoyable, perhaps less ordinary. Regarding last week's presentation by the leadership from the Lapeer Medical Care Facility, if religious exemptions are not allowed, we must join in the fight against that, or Lapeer County loses its MCF as well as workers in other positions. Why are the rules suddenly different for this particular virus? Religious and philosophical exemptions were possible before. We have freedom of thought, religion, and of conscience in this country. Those of our people who are not religious still hold just as strongly held beliefs. My question is, why would Lapeer County, if need be, not be involved in bringing suit against the federal government for its unconstitutional action and discriminating against our citizens? Two good stories, and there are others like these. A federal judge in New York granted a preliminary injunction against mandated jabs for healthcare workers with religious exemptions which were previously not being accepted. The healthcare workers brought suit in that case. Another example of hope is how a judge is also preventing American Airlines from firing their unvaccinated employees. It looks to me like we win if we fight. The other 400 plus facilities in Michigan, unlike ours, will surely be fighting the possible refusal of funds to patients in such a punishing, un-American manner. We need to have a prepared response for when and if the federal government makes their tyrannical mandates. Also, I wanted to say I also support this resolution like the one reported in the October 20 County Press article. In this country, we don't pick up guns when things don't go our way. We make resolutions and hope we can get majorities to join us. If we don't say something and our elected officials don't say something when good numbers of their citizens ask them to, local governments fall in line with state and federal because no one pushed back. There is some fraud taking place in a couple glaring areas in our country. I believe with others, there is much falsehood associated with the COVID issue. I appreciate any resolution that recognizes we the people should be making our own safety calls and health decisions. Thank you.
Commissioner, I support the resolution. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Please identify yourself.
John DeAngelis from Moore
Okay.
Township. And I read yours. I support that one also. So I agree with the last two speakers. I'm not going to take any more of your time.
Thank you.
My name is Dave Smancic. I'm from Untitled Township. Appreciate this opportunity to talk. Thank you, Commissioner Warren, for putting this resolution forward. I'll keep it brief. 47 years old. This is the first time I've been in a position like I am at this moment. I'm a little bit embarrassed by that, but I would like to say that you have the support of the people, and part of this process is a lot of us waking up from this recent time in history and realizing that we are, the power. Like I said before, I think it's almost, silly that we have to have these discussions on topics of this manner, considering whether or not people can do this to each other. And really what it comes down to is if you allow them, then they will. However, I would like to say that at least from my point of view in the household that I represent, you have my support anyway to ensure that the rights of the Constitution are kept. And I believe personally that the first way that we can address all this stuff is to stop panic policy, take a breath, come together, and approach it, unpack it, and move forward. Maybe we can undo some of the things that are done, but more importantly, we can prevent this from happening again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Angela Cresty. I'm representing myself for Rick Warren's resolution. And there's so much I want to talk about, but it's not really important right now. But is this the group that we have to convince of what we want?
For the resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Why didn't we do it together?
Sure, why not?
I've been waving this flag for the last year and a half. Well, really, yeah, last year and a half. It stands for constitutionalism and limited government.
Yes.
And I won't stop waving it. And I support your resolution, Mr. Warren. I read yours. I didn't really get enough time to digest all of yours, but I support it. I think you have a lot of support in this community. And I hope that, I know that today maybe, I don't know if action can be taken, but I just ask that you take action on it and support us. Again, there's so much we all want to say, but mainly we support the resolution.
You show it to the audience out.
Oh. This is the Gadsden flag. You've probably all seen it. Don't tread on me. And as far as I'm concerned, not only have we been tread upon, we've been run over.
You're here.
Just want to say, my name is Jacob Leroy. I live in Deerfield Township. Lenny Schneider is my commissioner, and I support Rick Warren's resolution. Brandon also showed me his resolution. I support that as well, but I think we need to shore up our freedoms, do a comprehensive thing, and then we can carve out exceptions for things such as tuberculosis and AIDS, as Brandon has mentioned, after that. So thank you for your time.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Betsy Roth. I'm also here representing my husband. I'm standing before you in support of the resolution which promotes personal and medical privacy and autonomy. I understand that some members of the board feel that they must take orders from the top for the welfare of the people. And this is true. You do need to take orders from the top. And the top is us, we the people, all of us. We're in charge of, or rather supposed to be in charge of, the way we want to conduct our lives and the lives of our children. The state and federal government are supposed to reflect our values and our personal liberties. Government overreach of forcing people to do things to their bodies that they don't feel comfortable with, it causes fears. And especially when they're gonna lose their job. When people try to have an open discussion about their fear on open social media platforms, they're censored, in some cases even banned. When government fears the people, there's liberty, and when the people fear the government, there's tyranny, in the words of Thomas Jefferson. Now more than ever, we need heroes. And I'm asking every one of you to be a hero and do what's right. Stop the fearful mandatories. They're playing havoc with our lives, our liberties, the county, the state, our country, and most importantly, our spirit. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Van Dam from Deerfield Township, and I'm here to support the resolution for the mandates. Mandates are all about control. We're being destroyed from within, and it's time for us to stop that. And I appreciate that you are taking that step by introducing resolutions and looking at those resolutions, and I hope you do the right thing and pass a resolution. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Diane Graventon, and I represent my husband, Jeffrey Graventon, and myself, and my children and grandchildren. I'm here to speak out for them. I didn't read the resolution. My cousin said, just texted me last night that they were having a meeting and to stand up for, against the mandate, because I think that, it's all about control and that we should be able to choose if we want to get vaccinated or not. I don't want something going into my body that I don't know what it is, or to my grandchildren. They're trying to mandate that. Even some of my children live in North Carolina. For 12-year-olds, that they can decide to do that without their parents' consent. That's just crazy. So anyways, I didn't want to read the mandate and disrespect everyone else as they were speaking, or not the mandate, but the resolution. But it sounds like it's for us to make a choice. And so if that's the case, I do support the resolution. I haven't had a chance to read it. I haven't seen yours. But anyways, I'm just here to stand up against being controlled and told what to do and saying we have to, have a vaccine or we'll lose our job. I'm a business owner as well in Lapeer County. Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. Kevin Ising on Warren Township. I just want to speak in support of Commissioner Warren's resolution. I also went over real quickly Commissioner Miller's resolution. I support that too. I like the context and the depth that's in Commissioner Warren's. I didn't really have a chance to digest yours, Brendan. Yesterday, the Michigan Senate voted in favor of banning any mandates on masks and vaccines. I applaud the Senate for doing that. This is the Michigan Senate. It still has to make its way through the House, I believe, and it's probably not going to go any further than the governor's desk. So we're just spinning our wheels there. But it might be considered symbolic, but nonetheless, it's a step in the right direction. I know some of the commissioners feel that a lot of this issues with mandates and masks is not in your purview. And we've talked about this ad nauseum over this last, all the meetings that I've come to here. So I just want to speak in support of Commissioner Warren's resolution, and he has my unwavering support on behalf of myself and my family, and 100 employees that we have at our business here and our other businesses in Ortonville. So thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Carol Brown, Mayfield Township. I'm here for myself, my family, my grandchildren. I'm a precinct delegate, so anybody in my precinct that would ask me about this, I would tell them that I support this resolution. I'm thankful that Commissioner Warren has the courage to bring such things. I know there's a lot of opposition to a lot of things that he says. And Brendan, I haven't seen yours, but if yours would prolong the voting on this and getting it passed, then I'm gonna suggest that we concentrate on Commissioner Warren's, and he has my support. And anybody, like I said, that lives around me and ask me anything about it, I'll let them know that I'm in support of it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. And I'm Ken Lashbrook from Kerr County. This mandate that's been dumped on us, I have no other words for it. I think it is a slap in the face in that we, as people in the United States, have our rights to say no. The Constitution has done that well before I came to this world. We have people that come from foreign countries and come here for a reason, because they idolize those things that we have to govern and to manage our country every day. Those people that we elect to an office are there to represent us. Us meaning myself, my children, my grandchildren, and now my great-grandchildren. I may never see some of the things they would accomplish, but I will not accept, is a better term, a life better than I had. It wasn't easy. I, like so many others, worked to myself retire. And when I retired, I chose to do what I've done with my life. I want to continue with that privilege to be able to take care of those things that I feel important. This taking away my right to choose whatever that may be, a shot, a change to my abilities to own my own property, I don't feel good or comfortable. I'm not speaking as many other people here speaking about myself. I believe I can survive. I've survived for now 77 years. I want a life for my children and their children and after them. I vote every single year for whatever I can do as an individual to keep our country safe and being able to appreciate what's here. The amendments that have been passed down and now mandates, a terrible word, terrible word. If it were against the law, I would feel different, but it isn't. I have the right to say no. I have chosen to say no. I'm here to represent myself, my family, my county, my state, and my country. We are and will always be free people if we can have the opportunity to justify our rights, and we do. And it's called the amendments to our country. And I would appreciate and hope that you would have that in mind when we or you have the opportunity to represent us, to give us that right to be free and to choose whether we want to take shots, whether we want our kids to have an education, whether we want whatever that may be, as long as we are a part of this country. I thank you very much for your time and have a good day.
I apologize. Pardon me. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to be here today. We very much appreciate it. Simply, I just want to stand up for what's right. Stand up for the United States of America. Stand up for each human being that lives here in the United States to have a right and freedom and liberty and do what our Constitution says. And it's incredible, our Constitution that we have. And I appreciate the resolution to give people the right that it's God-given and it's given by our Constitution. We're Americans. And so I just literally wanted to stand up and say thank you for putting this together, and standing for what's right. Standing for our God-given inalienable rights. And I just want to say thank you for doing this, and I'm glad to be a part of this morning, and thank you for your time.
Remember to identify yourself when you come before the board.
Good morning, Commission. Ted Sadler, Inlet City. I also am here representing myself, my family, and I am in support of Commissioner Warren's resolution. There's something known as the doctrine of the lesser magistrate. And as elected officials, we've taken an oath to support the Constitution. All the veterans in this room have taken that same oath. First responders take that same oath. And of course, as elected officials, we take that same oath. And at every level, the doctrine of the lesser magistrate tells us that at every level of authority, power, we have a responsibility to protect the Constitution on behalf of the people that are in our charge, if you will, for that brief window of time that we have the honor of serving our neighbors. Evils come from all directions, and at times they come from higher magistrates. And we are to protect our people, even from those in power at higher levels of authority. Thank you all.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Bob Weir. I'm from Oregon Township, and I'm here to support the resolution because it's not right that they hold hostage our medical facility with our dollars that we pay into the government to do the work that they're supposed to do. And I think they're overstepping their bounds. I think if you took the money away from this whole medical shot deal, we'd have a lot different resolutions than what we have. So I would, as far as my house and my wife, we support the resolution and we appreciate your time and your consideration. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Linda Blissman, and I live in the city of Lapeer with my husband Rick, who's sitting back there. I just want to say that I also agree with the, I'm sorry, I'm just a little nervous, with what Rick Warren has written. And what I am really encouraged by is the people in this room. We have a full room here. I've come to other meetings and we haven't had so many, but I'm certainly encouraged today by the people in this room because they are exercising their First Amendment rights. And I think that it is a noble thing that all these people turned out today. And with that, I'll just close. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Coleman from Deerfield Township, and I do support Rick Warren's resolution. I just have to say that you guys as a committee, as a body, have the ability to protect the 90,000 people in Lapeer County. I would say the vast majority of us believe that that's your job. This isn't, these mandates that are coming down, they're not about keeping people safe. I'm willing to bet that the majority of the people in this room know that. They've done their research. This is about control. This is about telling the American people what they want, what the top wants us to do. And they want us to step when they want us to step and do what they want us to do. And this is not how it works. This is not how this country was designed. I want you guys to remember that your job as a committee is to be our mouthpiece. It's not about your opinion and how you feel about it individually. It's about everybody in this room and the 90,000 people in this county. So when you go to vote, when you go to make your decisions on these things, you need to realize that you're our voice. It's not about you, it's about us.
Good morning. My name is Sue Porter and I live in Deerfield Township. And I support everything that my previous patriots have spoken this morning. The words, we are asking you to please do what's right. Rick Warren, and your proposal, please, everybody, please consider it. We need to be strong. We need to stand and do what's right with our government, with our country, with our Constitution. Thank you.
My name is Rochelle Legowski, and I live in Zion Hennings District. I want to say that I'm very much so in support of Rick Warren's proposal, his recommendation. And I wanted to encourage you today. I think we've lost our place. We've forgotten our position and our powers. It starts at the people, and then it goes to the state government, and then it goes to the federal government. And in the Michigan Constitution, in the first part, it says, all political power is inherent in the people. Government is instituted for their equal benefit, security, and protection. I want you to remember that this day. I encourage you guys to do what is right by the people because you will have overwhelming support if you do. Thank you so much for letting me speak.
Anyone else like to address this board this morning? Mark Wynn, Maritime Township, District 1. Thank you guys for the job you do. Been sitting here for weeks listening. You guys do a great job. I'm in support of Rick's resolution, and thank you.
My name is Rick Crow. I live in the city of Lapeer. And we started this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Anything that's contradictory to the things that we said when we said the pledge needs to be addressed. And I'm in favor of the motions, amendments, and that's all I want to know. But when I think about it, I just think about the Pledge of Allegiance, and that's what we were here for, and that's why we sing it.
Good morning. My name is Gabriel Lawson. I just want to stand and say that I'm in support of Rick Warren's proposal. One thing I'd like to say is that if everyone in this room was for the mandates, you still wouldn't have the right to restrict us of our rights. That being said, I hope that you pass the resolution and protect our rights. Thank you.
Good morning, Commission. Thank you for being here. Thank you for serving the people of Lapeer County. I'm Pastor Jesse Loggins, pastor of the Baptist Church of Hadley, and I was invited here today by a member of my congregation who's also here and has also spoken. And I first of all want to say that evil prevails when good men do nothing. Rick, Mr. Warren, at a previous meeting, you said leaders need to stand up. And I appreciate that. They do. We do. Starts at the grassroots at the local level, moves on to the state, on to the federal. And this mandate is trying to be passed down as evil. It's evil. It's not right. And we have God-given rights, biblical rights that we stand on, that this country, since its founding, stood on. And I appreciate your resolution, and I'm in favor of it. And I would encourage you to vote accordingly. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is John Legelski. Other than a few years, I've been a lifelong resident of Lapeer County, and I so appreciate that you guys have taken a post and expend the resources that you do to represent us, the people in this room. And as I've said before, you will see overwhelming support when you stand up and you do right by the people of this community. The safety and well-being of our community is important. Rick, I support your resolution. You can see overwhelming support for the resolution. It's all about the safety of our community, safety of Lapeer County. I do want to take an opportunity on that point regarding safety. Sheriff McKenna, you and your people, and that we reside in the county. County is adjacent to 3 of the per capita highest or most violent cities in the United States of America. And we are a county adjacent within walking distance of that corridor. And we are one of the safest counties in America, in spite of that. Last week, the administrators from Suncrest brought to the commission a report, and there's a dilemma. Some of our most vulnerable residents of the county are at risk because of a mandate from Washington stating that all of the staff there may have to be vaccinated in order to continue to be employed there. So here we have a community of at-risk people, and the county that takes, and the community that takes care of them. We need to take care of them. I don't know if Suncrest is a bucket that we talked about with the American, ARP.
Rescue Fund.
Thank you, American Rescue. But if that's something that we can do to support them, to keep those patients, their well-being in order, that would be something to think about. I represent myself, my family, my friends in this community, my grandkids, my children. I have 4 of them. And I support Rick's resolution. Today, I think, is a day that you're going to show this community how awesome it is to represent a community like this, and you're going to see that support come back to you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that'd like to address this board during the first public time? If not, I'll close the first public time. But does everybody in this room know that there is no vaccine mandate in Lapeer County? Are you all aware of that? That this board has never passed a vaccine mandate? That this board has never passed in Lapeer County telling you to wear a mask? Is everybody aware of that?
Yes.
So, we hear a lot of things. I'm not so sure that some of the things that are coming across are fair, because it seems like, even like at the medical care facility, we've got a lot of people that are afraid of what could happen. I don't think personally that this vaccine mandate will pass the courts. It's gonna be a long time before that gets down to Lapeer County. So I wanna make sure you're all aware of that. We're not requiring anybody in this county to wear a mask. We're not requiring any in this county to be vaccinated. We've always left that up to you. If you want to be vaccinated, be vaccinated. If you don't get vaccinated. I just want you all to know that. I'm sure you're all aware of that. I'm sorry about this voice. Normally I have this strong voice.
I have to respond, Gary, to that. I have to respond. Because we just heard everybody talking. These are all people that are in fear of their jobs, their kids' jobs,
I
their schools.
understand.
These are people that not only in the county, but through whatever corporations they're working for. Corporations are already doing this around here.
You and I have no control over that.
We have no control. What we're doing here today, this was the reason why I brought this forward, is because I've mentioned this many times. This has been going on for 19, I don't know how many months now.
Yes.
This is a political issue. It's not a medical issue.
Correct.
If it was a medical issue, you would follow some of the stuff, guidelines, what the NIH is saying. What is the Medicare, Medicaid? What are they doing about payments? There's things that people can find out what's going on, and it's all about money.
Yes.
And it's happening, and you say, don't worry about it, and you have the President of the United States.
I did not say don't worry about it.
Well, you just told him, I'm not sure you should be speaking today. That's what you just told him. These people came out here because this is what they're hearing every day.
What did I say?
Hold on,
I just take that back, if I didn't hear it
real
that
quick,
way.
can I actually move on to number 3 first? We'll get to this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
discussion
Well,
maybe.
this was
Point of order.
The only reason I spoke up is because he spoke up during
We'll
public
get to
time.
it, we'll get to it, don't worry.
No, I closed public time before I said anything.
Don't worry, we'll have plenty of arguments in a few minutes.
I have no desire to argue.
Do this in a second.
Moving on, friend of the court.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Emma.
I'm here in front of you to request a renewal of our Lexus Nexus subscription. It's a legal research subscription. I do want to indicate that there is a omission of a word in the additional information. The cost is $37 per month. It's not per annual. So presently we pay $420 for the subscription. In 2022 it'd be $444. In 2023 it'd be $468. And in 2024 it'd be $492. So it's a slight increase, but I'm before the board request a renewal of that so that we continue to do the work in the front of the court.
Sure, I'll move approval. Support. We have a motion of support. All in favor, say saying aye. Aye. Both same sign, motion carries.
Thank you, Albert, for your time this morning.
Number 4, District Court Resolution to honor retirement of Mary Lou Schmidt.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here for the resolution of Mary Lou Schmidt, who's going to be retiring tomorrow after almost 24 years.
You want to go up there?
Supposed to have a bigger smile on your face than that.
She's a little mixed feeling, so I'm trying to keep her hair wet. I don't think she's not that mixed.
Not mixed?
No. I tried really hard.
Brenda, you want to go up and read this for her?
Well, yeah, I can read it through here, actually. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Whereas Mary Lou Schmidt was born to Louis and Mary Zeismer and was raised in Chicago, Illinois before moving to Metamora, Michigan, along with her 6 sisters and 1 brother, where she graduated from Lapeer High School and attended Pontiac Business Institute. And whereas Mary Lou Schmidt was employed with Hattie's Country Casuals for 6 years as a customer service and ST Lauder representative. Then she worked for Lapeer Regional Hospital in the communications department before she began her employment with Lapeer County 71A District Court in 1997 as a district court clerk, working as a cashier, ticket clerk, criminal clerk, and then became a civil clerk in 2007, where she has served continuously in that capacity until her retirement. And whereas Mary Lou Schmidt has 3 children, 12 grandchildren that she enjoys spending time with,
and she also helps care for her 96-year-old mother who resides in independent living and plans on enjoying many more family activities in her retirement. And whereas Mary Lou Schmidt will retire on October 29th, 2021, after nearly 24 years of faithful and dedicated service to the County of Lapeer. Now therefore be it resolved that this Board of Commission of Lapeer County, Michigan wishes to honor and express its deep appreciation to Mary Lou Schmidt for her many years of dedicated service to the citizens of her community and all of Lapeer County.
It's just been a pleasure to be here. This has been a great job and a great community. And I have a lot of years left to participate in it. I just thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Lou? So you worked for the hospital when the county still owned the hospital? Lapeer Regional Hospital? Yeah, before we sold it?
Yes.
That's nice. You spent a lot of time, you gave a lot of time to this county. I want to thank you for that. Yeah.
So I move the resolution.
Support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Roll call.
Roll call. All right, gotta do a roll call.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Zender,
Yes.
Commissioner Henning,
Yes.
Commissioner Jarvis, Chairman Roy.
Yes.
You said no, do I get to keep it? Just worth a try.
Yes.
Thank you.
Health Department, request approval of the AICC for year 2022 substance use disorder prevention and treatment contracts and fee schedule.
Morning. Just here to answer any questions that you may have.
The fee schedule, has it increased any?
The fee schedule did for the initial assessment.
All right.
It used to take about an hour and a half. The state is now mandating we use a different tool. It takes almost 3 hours, so that is where the increase is double.
See, the state made your job more difficult?
It uses up more staff time.
Oh, no way.
A little bit.
I'll support it.
I guess a quick question, any that you gave us copies of changes that are noted, were there any changes? There was a lot of wording changes. Anything significant there that bothers you?
No, Commissioner. The only two things that were significant is the contract language that is saying we have to use the new assessment, and we just need to make sure that we have HIPAA and HIPAA breach policies in place. Those were the only two things that really stood out to me.
Any other questions? Everybody all right? All right. I need a motion, huh?
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
All right. We have a motion and support. All in favor of that motion, I say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Administration, Finance, Board of Commissioners, draft proposal, Board of Commissioners resolution, referred from October the 14th, 2021 meeting.
That is the resolution I'm moving forward today, and I apologize if I misunderstood you, Gary. But the reason this resolution came forward is not because the mandate's in force right now. It's because the president a month and a half ago said this is what's gonna happen with all corporations. He hasn't even sent it to the DHS yet. Nobody signed that bill in order, but it's still in order. It's not a law. But the problem between then and now is that he instilled fear into everybody that has a job, that relies on their job to take care of their family. And for us to wait till the mandate comes, a little late. So the purpose of the resolution, prior to any normal situation is that the fear has been there for a month and a half and very, very strong. It's a lot of families. I can tell you that it's in a lot of families, not just a couple people here. It's all across the country. The fear is strong. We have some places in this country that are fighting against that and they're standing up. But we have other places in this country where the leaders are not speaking out. And the people speak, and then when they do speak, like the school board, for instance, they want to call them terrorists, domestic terrorists, because they're speaking out. We don't, as he said earlier, somebody says, I like to do this peacefully. We don't want to get to the point where we have to do it with arms. It should never come to that in America. But we have to take leaders. If we stand up here, when we stand up and tell them we'll be behind you, that gives them a little bit more hope. Are we going to stop the president from making his mandates or whatever he's going to do? No. But it sure by God tells you that we are, one, going to stand up for this country and our country. And the reason I brought that and I applaud you and thank you all for coming. And a lot of you related this resolution to me. This resolution isn't about me. Never was. This resolution is all about you. When you elected me to run, you elected me to do something for you, not for me, not my personal opinions, not how law normally goes. Because we all know that if the American people would stand up, we could change any law in this country. We are the boss as an individual, not as a county commissioner. I'm one of 7 on this board. But I brought this so that we can say it as leaders. We got your back. And we're going to do this now. And some say it shouldn't have been a resolution because it's got no teeth. It's got no bill to follow. It has nothing. No, it does have a lot. And it's letting them know, and it's letting them, who their leaders are, they're going to stand up for them. This county, this country has been falling on its bottom right now because we're not standing up. Our leaders are not standing up. Our leaders that we thought were going to stand up for us are not standing up. And so, and I apologize. I'm an emotional person. I don't know why. Something the good Lord put on me. I don't like it. And when it comes to me, it's not about me. So I take that personally. But this resolution needs to be considered very heavily for you and I to say, we have your back. I like the letter. It was a good letter. You want to attach that to whatever. But I made some changes to this resolution to help with that. Some of it was to, if you went down to where it says, be a further resolved, I changed where it's in the middle of that sentence, measured as related to COVID-19, because some of the other aspects that we've heard concerns with.
So the only thing I would point out is I actually think some of the changes harm what we're intending to do. Like, for instance, it says unless legislatively required by law. As much as I think I understand the intent of that, I actually disagree with that wording as well. The reason being, if Congress today passed a vaccine mandate on all of us, this resolution would say thumbs up, okay. I believe, and now, Rick, you know this, and I apologize I didn't get this out sooner. I did have an alternate resolution that I'd like to present. I would have put it out sooner, but someone doesn't have any internet anywhere near their home. So anyone who lives in northern Deerfield can tell you, good luck trying to find internet. But I do have an alternate resolution. I think it provides teeth. I think it provides the exact, literally everything you want in your resolution, the fight for freedom, the fight for bodily autonomy, all in a bit more of a concise package with teeth on it. Like, for instance, my therefores. Therefore, be it further resolved that the people and their duly elected representatives express our opposition to the federal COVID-19 vaccination mandate, and be it further resolved that it is unreasonable to require a person to disclose the status of his or her COVID-19 immunization for employment, education, access to events, or engagements in normal commercial and recreational activities. All adults should have the freedom to evaluate the science and seek out appropriate medical opinions while making decisions for themselves and their families. And finally, further be it resolved that the County of Lapeer shall not impose a vaccine requirement on its employees who retain the right to make their own health choices in consultation with their healthcare professionals, nor will they fund those who attempt to do so. So I think this achieves exactly what your resolution achieves, adds extra teeth and puts it in a much more concise package that directs it at where it needs to be directed at.
And you said that because you don't have internet, so I apologize.
But
But Brendan,
guys, as a matter of order,
but it should have been brought to it. we did this 2 weeks ago and it was supposed to be.
I understand,
So we
Rick.
didn't have this
As a
discussion.
matter of order, we need to vote on it.
We do have to I move this motion forward for a vote.
It's a resolution, so would the clerk please,
I didn't support it.
would somebody support it? Somebody gonna support it?
I'm not gonna support the current resolution in its current form. Because this resolution, Rick, the problem I have with this resolution is it doesn't do anything except tell these people out here that, hey, we support your rights and we support the Constitution. Well, of course we do. And I apologize, I'm getting passionate myself, because one thing I don't ever want to do, and I've said this before, is I never want to lie to the people. I never want to BS the people on what we're actually doing. This current resolution or its current form, I cannot support it because it doesn't do anything effective besides just say, hey, we hate mandates, which, true, I hate mandates. I don't support mandates. I don't support the federal government coming down and doing this. So I can't support it right now under its current form because it doesn't have any teeth to do anything yet. What I will also point out is that anything that happens today, no matter what we do, whether we pass this or not, it still has to go to next week. It still has to go next week for a final vote, because this is just a committee, right? So I hope you understand. I hope you understand that I'm not, by me not supporting a resolution, I'm not coming out saying that I despise a resolution or think it's a bad idea. I want to pass a resolution that has teeth and that can actually do something to help our employees and make a statement to our employees that, hey, we will not enforce any vaccine mandates, and we will not fund those who do that either. So that's the only reason I will not support your resolution at this time. I hope you understand. I hope the people out there understand too, because I am just as appalled as you are at the outlandish requirements that the federal government is trying to force on the people of this county.
So I'm not taking this personally.
Okay.
You wish that the resolution came because nobody was taking a stand. Some people said I was crazy and I was stirring up trouble. There were issues that come at me because I put a resolution together. If I hadn't have brought a resolution together 2 weeks ago, we wouldn't even be talking today. And here we are talking about how my wording, when we had time to do all this instead of in front of the people. So whatever we do here doesn't matter to me, but it does matter to them.
Amen.
That's all I have to say about that.
Can I make a motion on my resolution, or would that be out of order? If it's
Out of
out of
order.
order, that's
There's
fine.
no second.
You'd be out of order.
I'd be out of order.
First, he has to declare that there's no second to Rex.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
we have to declare that the motion's dead. The resolution's dead. So there's no support for this?
Pass Rick's and pass Brendan's in 2 weeks. That's fine.
Pass this one now, pass the other one in 2 weeks. This was here to be presented and passed today, so not next week or 2 weeks.
Well, you know what can't be passed today, though, Rick?
What's that?
You know what can't be passed today?
You're signing it, you're agreeing to it today.
We can agree
You're
to it.
committing to them today. Now we're gonna talk about this for 2 weeks, we'll talk about that in
Are
4
you
days.
opposed to amending your resolution at all?
I'm just saying, I brought the resolution together, I was hoping to get support so that it could be discussed, we haven't even got to that level yet.
Well, I'll support it for discussion purposes only.
Well, if you're gonna support it, then we can vote on it.
Well, I want to open it for discussion. In order to have a proper debate, you have to accept it and then move into discussion. If we want to have the discussion, we can. I would like to see some wording changes though, and I think it should be done out in the public. I think we also do need to add some real teeth to it as well. If we're going to pass, I don't want to pass two. We did that with the gun thing. That was, as much as we passed both of them, had the same effect, right? So, it's all over words, I agree, but I want to add teeth to it. I said, I don't disagree with this, I want to make it.
So our discussion,
Audience can't participate in this.
I just had this handed to me this morning, Brendan.
I understand.
And I understand you're a young gentleman. You have the talent and ability to get to an email or a phone. or cell phone or text. I asked for this information last week. We could have discussed this and maybe we'd have resolved that last week. Didn't come to me last week. Came to me this morning because you don't have an internet.
Do you not agree though, all this should be discussed in public anyhow?
But I'm sorry, say that
We
again.
should be discussing this in public anyhow with 7 other
We
members.
should be discussing it. So we're discussing it. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from.
I
So you're
understand.
asking me, what do I think about it? I'm still reading and analyzing what
I
you said.
understand.
And I agree with a lot of points I'm seeing. You're asking me to do that now. I had 2 weeks to ask you to tell me about this one. And you want me to say something about this one. You see the difference?
Yeah, and I offered to sit down with you before as well. I get it. I
Wherever we
understand.
go with it, the vote, we have a motion to support right now. So if it's voted down, that's where we're at, and you need to bring your resolution up.
Please
That's where I
support the resolution.
Good work.
Is Medicaid going to be cut off?
I'll go ahead and get drunk.
Medicare?
Go for it.
I did respond to your request and gave you feedback, most of which I don't see here, because it doesn't really address some of my concerns. My concern is this is really an empty resolution, because again, we don't have authority to do what needs to be done. Directing our concern, which at least Brendan's resolution would do, I think, in a much clearer way, would get to the people who make those decisions, what our thought is. I also think that it is so broad that it catches stuff that is beyond the mandate that we're really concerned about, which I agree is terrible public policy, especially at this point. And we're stuck to responding to because somebody made a mistake at the level, national level, frankly. So I'd rather a resolution that is very specific, deals with the issue of mandates and doesn't try to say things that don't represent really our authority and powers in this topic. Those are my opinions.
Any other responses?
Do you want us to vote on this?
I brought the resolution. There is 4 other counties already signed the resolution. Jackson County, Genesee County, Mishawasha, I can't even pronounce it on my Cadillac, whatever county that is. And I believe another one over on the west side. I'm not sure it's Barron County, but I'm not positive on that. There are people speaking up all over about these resolutions, and go ahead.
But they're not identical to
They're
this
pretty close,
resolution.
they're pretty close to each other. But it's not the issue, because when the president says something, we're not gonna change that, right? When the governor says something, we're gonna stand for what we believe in, not this resolution. What this resolution did today was to tell the people today, we're standing up now, not debating it tomorrow, because that's the way politics works. That's why we should have debated this last week, so we weren't in this position. And I think it has enough teeth, because we all said, you know what? We're gonna stand behind you.
What teeth
If
does
we
it
did-
have, Rick? What
Okay.
teeth, what, if we pass this today, what will it do for the people that are sitting out here today? Not a damn thing.
Okay.
That's what I'm frustrated about.
So
Not a
this,
thing.
so this could be, this is all telling us, what's this doing? I haven't read
This,
the whole
I'll tell
thing.
you what
I
this
haven't had time
does.
to read the whole thing. so
Okay,
I'm
I'll tell you
telling
what this does. This
Yeah.
does this. This says that Lapeer County will not enforce a vaccine mandate. That's number 1. Number 2, it says that Lapeer County will not fund organizations that will enforce a vaccine mandate. That's 3. And the other thing it makes clear is that we are expressing our official, this would be the official notion as well, we will oppose the federal vaccine mandate. That is putting our official motion. So 3 things. 1, we're putting our official opposition to the federal vaccine mandate. 2, we are making it abundantly clear that it is unreasonable to require the person to disclose their status. So we're not only the vaccine, we're also saying that we shouldn't have people going out and saying, hey, what's your vaccine status? And then 3, it says that we shall not impose a vaccine mandate on our employees. So it makes those things abundantly clear. And then 4, it states that we will not fund those entities that force a vaccine mandate on their employees. So it lays it out clearly. And I'm sorry, I'm getting passionate again.
I mentioned to you this morning, early this morning, a lot of what I was reading, I agreed and liked. I said, so why don't we attach that to this resolution and still pass this resolution with an attachment? And you got all that together. Doesn't change it.
Well, we could, but the only thing I would state is the two resolutions are contradictory to each other in a couple of aspects. So if we were to do that, I don't disagree with your opinion, to be honest with you, I don't disagree with your option. But we'd have to have more time to go through and make sure they don't contradict themselves, because right now they do. Right now it says that we oppose the mandate until it's legislatively allowed. So that's, as I said, that's what we said, we have to clear that stuff up. So I understand what you're saying, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but we do need more time for me and you to sit down and say, okay, where is this contract, where is it not? We can't pass it this week anyways for a final approval. So Rick, would you be in favor of moving this to next week? Me and you can sit down, maybe we get the majority of the board, maybe we don't, I don't know. This motion might very well fail. But are you willing to move forward next week so me and you can sit down and throw these two together into either a single resolution or a single and additional? Would you make that your motion?
We're gonna vote on, because I like a lot of what's in.
2 weeks ago.
I know that, and this is the problem, because they did ask, and we had it on tape. Lenny's the one that said we shouldn't be here discussing it today, and here we are. And so I wanted to add it like that, he says contradictory. What can I tell you? You should have brought this to me. I even asked you to get it to me last night.
You
so
understand
that I can read
that
it
this,
overnight.
You understand that this resolution was put together with resolutions of other counties. Most of it actually comes from the county you mentioned, Genesee County. They just passed it 2 days ago. So I have all the wording together anyways.
This wording, no, this didn't come from Genesee.
No, this did, mine.
Oh.
So as I said, I didn't have all the wording available for either because I wanted to throw together other resolutions. So they just passed it on the 26th and today's the 28th. Yeah, so it was 2 days ago. So, I just got it from that commissioner over there, Miss Davis. So understand, it's not because I was stonewalling you. I just did not have the proper wording yet because they had not done anything and I had not seen enough from
Did
the
you
other
look at the one in
places.
Jackson County?
If we
There was
pass-
a week and a half ago, did you look at the one from Barron County or the one from up north?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you had plenty of time to talk to me, Brendan, and that's why I'm upset about this. And the people are here, they took time off the job, their work, to come down here because in the paper said we were gonna have a resolution today. Now you wanna move it to next week?
But we have to move it next week anyways, Rick. It's not gonna pass today anyways. It cannot pass today. It's committee of the whole. If we were to pass a motion to move to next week, so for me and you to combine the two resolutions, it serves the exact same purpose as if we were to pass it normally, because it still has to go next week for final approval. No matter what, we have to go next week.
All right, let's just do it this way. I presented this resolution, we passed a resolution with this moving forward for amendments next week. Can we do that?
Yeah.
We're agreeing to the public, this is what we're doing, we're just gonna amend it and fine tune it next week, and we'll do a final.
I'll support your amendment to that motion.
That's where we're at.
But we'll see if we get a majority or not.
That's
The motion
other-
is to move it to next week. Move it to next week.
The motion
For a
is,
new
the
motion.
motion is that we agree to the resolution, but we also agree that there be amendments done to it by next week's meeting also to be voted on, to amend this resolution. But the resolution today is to say, we are standing behind you, not behind our feelings. And we'll do a resolution changing the wording to fit this, and then we'll send them out to all the departments that we want to send it
Rick,
to.
you gotta give the clerk, again, this is one of those long, wordy, winging and going.
And I'm
You
not-
need to give a specific motion for her to be able to.
So Lindy, do you understand what I just said though, right?
No,
No, you understand what I said, right?
I understand the concept, I
Okay,
don't understand a
Can
motion.
somebody,
She
I'm
needs a
not good
motion.
at putting things in words. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So if somebody here right now can come with putting in the proper words and she can put it in there for you, what I just said, all I'm saying is we're gonna accept this resolution, approve the resolution today as written with a possible amendment change on the following week to be confirmed, to be sent out to all the departments after that approval. But we're approving the resolution today by what we know.
That is conflicting.
Yeah, we can't.
That's conflicting.
It is conflicting. How can we solve this problem?
You take a vote on the original motion. Or you refer the whole topic to next week. Those are the two clear ways to do this.
All right. I can see and I know by my responses that I've gotten so far, this is not going anywhere today. So I'm gonna make the motion that we could move this to next week. But we better have a motion and we better get a vote. Because the people don't want to hear it anymore. They're gonna be watching, if they're not here, they're gonna be watching on that TV, or they'll view it later when they can. The purpose of this whole thing started, and I said this a year and a half ago, and I said it when I put the motion in 2 weeks ago, was that we finally took a stand for the public, and we're not waiting till later. And now we're delaying another week. It's not a big deal. Next week is what? Right now, they're trying to pass bills in the House so that President Biden can go across the world to say he got this stuff out on America. We should be standing up to all those things that are going on now, not after it all happens. But we're not. We're waiting because we have a process.
We're not waiting, we're doing the process, we're doing the regular process to make sure we actually put out something that makes sense and does something for our people. That's what we're doing.
My motion is we're gonna table it until next week for a final vote.
I support that motion.
Tabling it?
No, we're
Moving
moving it. Referring it.
Referring it to next week's meeting
For an agenda item.
for an agenda item to be
Yes.
voted on.
Agenda item.
Do we have discussion on that new motion now?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, just so that you guys have an understanding from other board members, and I'll give a comment, the other one's Mike. Because you two have been talking now that it's semantics, and I don't want to leave you and the public under the impression, okay, let's move it again, have everybody come back again, discuss it again, because we've discussed it, heard from people in the audience multiple times, and then find out next week that maybe board members have objections above and beyond just semantics. We might have objections to the whole construct of a resolution. And I, for one, am one. So I want to just be able to share that perspective as to why I will vote to continue to move this on. Couple points. My first one being, first of all, let me say, I respect and love everyone in this room, as well as everyone in my community, irrespective of individual points of view. And they are deeply divided points of view. This is very similar to pro-life or pro-choice. People, no.
80%, right.
Don't interrupt, please. This is very similar in the idea that some people feel very strongly and passionately with down to their core beliefs on one end of it, and have a hard time being able to conceive of how anybody could feel any different. And some people feel very strongly and passionately on the other end of it. That's where I'm drawing the analogy. So what I'm saying is everybody, this is not a discussion, this is.
I don't want to interrupt, but as you guys have to wait for public time. Right now it's us talking. I appreciate it, but that's the normal policy. But you'll have your time to voice your opinion, so we have to hear Lenny out.
We're trying to be respectful to our public and discourse this in public. So you need to show the same respect, please, that we've shown, okay? And hear your different points of view. And understand that everybody sitting up here represents, because you've all said it, the people. But the people are very different on their points of view. Your elected officials, like I say, they represent people that are pro-life and they represent people that are pro-choice. They represent them both. And neither one is necessarily right or wrong. And we represent people in our community that feel very strongly towards the vaccination one way or another, or towards masks one way or another, or other types of initiative. Whether it's 60-40%, 70-30%, anybody shaking their head saying there's nobody in this community that thinks differently than you, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to waste my time arguing with that. There are people who feel very strongly. And I think back to when we first knew about the pandemic, and the discussion was the fact that this pandemic could actually be 10 times more fatal than the flu, and that we were losing 20,000 to 40,000 Americans a year in flu. And we were all saying, you're talking 200,000? That was a scary number to all of us. And worst case scenario, maybe even 400,000. That was a very frightening scenario. And somewhere down the road, we all saw those as numbers. They've just become minutia to us. We hear them every day on the news or in the paper. The numbers have far exceeded even the 400,000 now. And every one of those is a tragic case. So for everybody that feels very strongly on one way, maybe you haven't had the advantage that some of us have had, or the disadvantage of meeting people and having them cry on our shoulders about the people that they lost in medical care facilities or in hospitals or in whatever. But this body here, we are the health board as well as the board of commissioners. And so we work closely with our health officer. And our health officer works closely with medical professionals. So we talk about individuals should refer to their doctors and not necessarily just jump on whatever the bandwagon is. We do the same thing. We refer to our professionals and we look to them for direction. So for me, on the pandemic, it has proven itself to be a very fluid, ever-changing thing over this course of, and that's required a very fluid response. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. There was no rule book for a lot of people. My point being that it's required a fluid response, and the resolution, which is not legally worth the paper it's written on because it encumbers future boards and said the commission will not do this, and the commission is not allowed to do that. You can't do that. Commission the following week, if all of a sudden people were dropping dead left and right, the following week could turn around and make a motion to repeal the resolution. So a lot of us share your concerns or share your perspectives, but we recognize legally and governmentally that it doesn't fit necessarily well within the constructs of a resolution. That's just some of our opinions. That happens to be mine. I have some other sad viewpoints when I know a lot of people in the audience and I share a lot of your points of view. I've seen Christians pitted against Christians. You could have two pastors debate this issue on one side or another. You could have two strong Christian believing. I personally have prayed deeply on this to try and figure out what my role should be or shouldn't be. And I have to listen to all my citizens, irrespective of where they fall in their viewpoint here. So please don't think if we don't agree with you or a resolution, that doesn't mean we're not understanding you, we're not hearing you, we don't respect you, we don't care about you, because I'm just here to tell you right now, we do. I respect your viewpoint, I respect each one of you, I love each one of you. I do not feel that a resolution is appropriate at this time, trying to restrict future boards. And I just wanted to make sure my fellow commissioners knew that, so they knew it was more for me than just semantics of wordsmithing. It actually is the broader issue as well.
Well done. Anybody else want to make a statement or? Sure you have something to say.
I did, but I'll add something.
You did.
Occasionally in the undercurrent of comments, I hear people, I think, saying that we have authority at the local level to stop or do things that are contrary to national or state policy. There is a process in a democratic country to go through to challenge that. We talked about that before. The courts are contacting our legislators, whatever that process is, or lawsuit. We could launch a lawsuit, try to use our money to sue to not have this judgment or decision by the president used. And there are people doing that already, and we'll see the outcome of that. But there is a process, and in a democratic country, that's the way you have to do it, or the a few people will always have a different opinion. The bigger our country gets, the more opinions we'll have. And somewhere, when we go through this process, we may not agree, but we have to accept some decisions and let the process work through. Or I don't see how we can maintain a democracy.
I want to go back to the first. We did yours, you supported my first proposal on the resolution. I want to go back to that for the vote. And however it turns out. And then this resolution, you can bring it up again as a motion in the future. And right now, they're getting conflicting stories. They're getting conflicting stories from the people, right? We're giving them conflicting stories. They don't know. And they say, what teeth do we have? And this is what every leader in this country has teeth with. That the American people, when they speak, that is the law. That is what their constitutional right as a Supreme Court judge. They're supposed to listen to what the people say. They have to follow law. But they also, laws have been changed and will be changed because of the American people. And right now they're talking about putting a mandate on. Right now they got this whole country in fear. The worst thing that can happen to this country is fear. It started from day one with COVID-19 when they first started bringing it in from China.
And people were.
And all this is saying right now is we're going to stand up for you. You can make changes to whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do.
Great, we're standing up for people. What are we actually going to do for the people, though, Rick? What are we actually going to do for the people, Rick?
Let's bring this back.
Standing up for people? We've all stand up, we all said something. Let's do something for the people. Let's do something for our employees. Let's do something to tell them that we actually give a crap about what they're saying.
What kind of wording are we going to do right now?
I wish I had my ballot, I'll tell you that.
What do you want me
You
to
guys
do?
gotta calm down.
I'm trying to bring this motion to either. I'm trying to get a vote that we move it to next week for a vote.
Well, I mean,
With what
it's
you
gonna
said.
have to go next week anyway, to the full board, so you know what?
But they want to
If
change.
you wanna vote on it, vote on it.
They want some wording of how this is going to be so that he can get his part in there. That's what he's looking for.
Yes.
Nobody has an idea how to put the wording together.
We just talked about it.
I
We
don't
just
want
had
to
a
debate this
motion.
again next
We
week.
just had a motion that me and you are going to come together. We're going to conference on it. We're going to bring something out next week. That will address both of our issues. We'll stand up for people and we'll actually do something for the people. Both things. Good. Done. Pass next week. We'll see if it makes past the rest of the
Are you
board.
gonna bring back a non-binding resolution? Because that's what this is. It's absolutely non-binding. You know that? I know that. Everybody else should know that too. It means nothing. You know how many of these we've sent to Whitmer? You know how many replies we've got? Zero. The only thing we get from Whitmer, she sends something back saying, we received your resolution, have a nice day. We'll redistrict you right out of business. So you know what? You guys got an argument going on here, that's fine. But let's do something here.
Okay, we're gonna move it. We're gonna move it forward. We're gonna do it the way you said.
You wanna move it forward to next week?
Moving forward, we're gonna have this brought back
But
to.
I don't know, is there support to move it
Well,
forward?
right now,
Ian,
Has the clerk just reread the motion?
Rick made the motion. I support it. We're going to refer it to next week. We're going to conference on it. It might pass this board and we refer it next week.
Lynette, do you have the wording?
To refer the topic as an agenda item next week's full board. My request to know is, will this be distributed prior to, so that it can be a part of the agenda
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
by Monday?
With Brendan,
today.
Brendan and I are gonna get together this afternoon and do it this afternoon, so it's in there tomorrow. I'm not waiting till Monday. I'm not waiting for anybody to think about it. We
No,
got.
you have to have it in this afternoon to get it on next week's agenda,
That's fine with me.
or tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's what we said, tomorrow. I said, we're gonna get together. When we get through with this, we're gonna get together and we're gonna put that on there, so it's on next week to be voted and no more discussion.
Put it to be, yeah, no more discussion to be voted on,
Yeah.
correct?
That's
All right,
what
that's
it
fine.
I guess the other thing I'd say to everybody here who's passionate on the
Let's make a
topic.
motion and get this off the table.
We're
Let's
gonna-
get it moved.
This
We're
is
looking for a vote.
final comment, is that there are a lot of people in this process in the state and national government, and I hope that all the people here are not only talking to us, which is your right, but also communicating with your state representatives and especially your federal representatives. That's where change may happen on this topic anyway. Thank you.
We have a motion and support, let's take a vote. All in favor of moving this to next week, not for discussion, but for a vote. But what comes out?
We're gonna vote next week.
Well,
We're,
I assume there would be discussion of it, whatever.
if you wanna talk to me after this meeting, talk to me after the meeting, but Brenda and I are gonna have a motion ready to be voted on next week. That's what we're agreeing to. That's what the motion's for. So you either say yes or no, and I think we should be taking a vote on that at this point.
And I assume we have the right to debate that once it comes forward.
You're gonna, you say what you want.
You know, we can push this down the road for months.
I request a roll call, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Zender,
Yes.
Commissioner Henning,
Yes.
Commissioner Jarvis,
No.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Schneider,
No.
Chairman Roy.
No. Motion passed. Moving on. Thank God, I heard her say that, did you? Yes. Request annual authority for comptroller, administrator, and chief financial officer to approve year-end budget amendments through December 31st.
I'll move it. Support.
Are you gonna require any paperwork on that, Lenny? Or-
Just the standard process that he's got to be able to have the ability to sign that stuff off at the end of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's standard, they let us know
Yes.
what they've done.
Oh, right, budget amendments will all be brought forward.
Yeah, like they used to, right now? All right, got a motion and support to do that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Proposed employee stipend draft motion to be distributed.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that issue to next week. I don't think it's appropriate today.
Support.
Was there a motion you can distribute it?
Yes.
Yeah, there's multiple ones. I think there's a couple things I can handle out still.
That's it.
I'll be moving for a closed session at the end of the meeting for labor.
This is not for labor.
No, I'll be moving for labor. From direction from our legal counsel.
Is that right, Clinton?
Howard would suggest it.
Well, I'm not talking about the closed session. That's one thing. I'm talking about the motion. I'm talking about attaching it to labor.
There's no motion to attach the labor. The discussion was to move the issue to next week. And I'm just giving the board an FYI on a closed session for labor. So there's a motion to support to move this issue 6C to next week's full board.
We have a motion and support, all in favor of this motion to kick the can down the road.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign? Opposed?
Opposed.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
So 4-3. Everybody said support.
No, we got 3, we got 4 and 3. So you voted to move it.
I voted to move it.
All right, 3 of us. 4 did.
4 did, so we got it.
This will be moving down the road.
Not down the road, just 1 week.
1 week, just like this one.
Down
It
the
would,
road.
it would require next week anyways. Because this is just committee today.
And it can still be voted on.
I guess that brings us down to the second public time. Would anyone like to address this board again, take the second public time?
Yes. Can I just give this to me a second? This is my name. My name is Kim Kitts. I'm from Metamora. I just want to address the board here.
The Constitution, first of all, we are a constitutional republic, not a democracy. We live by the Constitution, which is not based on opinion and emotion. There are a lot of feelings, and just because all of us here are standing up in one way, we represent this woman wearing a mask. We represent the people who do want vaccines. We represent the people who did have family members that died. We represent the people who need choice. Yeah. There's lots of emotion, and we understand our brothers and sisters in Christ are divided on this. That's not what this is about. This is about defending the Constitution as written, yes, preserving our freedoms. This is not about the emotion. This is not that. The doctors and the medical professionals that we're basing, or that the administration is basing their decisions on, is one-sided. There are medical opinions that are completely dismissed right now. And the 500,000 people, the 85% of the people that could have been saved by this pandemic, 500,000 people died from medical malpractice because they were not told there were options other than masks and vaccines. They said, this is only one way. It's not. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of opinion, but this is not what this is about. This is about freedom for those people who want the vaccine, yes. Whose families did die, yes. It's about preserving that choice. And this resolution protects the choice for all those people, respecting all their opinions, whether they lost people or not. We have to listen to everyone and remember that there is a lot of bias. Let's get back to the basics and preserving the freedoms that we were given in the first place. And it didn't come from any individual. They were given by God. That's what inalienable rights means. They're not bestowed upon us. We were born with them. From our divine Creator.
Back again. I think we as individuals here on the board and also in this audience understand we do have a constitution and people died for, people did things to give us this pleasure that we have to have what we have. But this issue that we're talking about right now is one of many. We're not here to hear someone say, no, we don't agree with you, we do agree with you. It's the principle. This is one of many in the last few months. Never in the history of the United States that we ever had, or we do not want, is to be told what to do and what not to do. I don't want someone coming along and so it could be, you're old, you're over 80 years old, you have no value. Go someplace where someone can take care of you. Put you in a nursing home because we don't want you around people. That just happened. A man asking a question to a board by his daughter. Local police didn't get into it. FBI, CIA, all this crap. We are sick and tired of every single one of these issues. They've not been for the benefit of the people. They're thinking about what they can get tomorrow. What else are they going to put on us? We're sick and tired of that. We want this board to represent these people. You all have names, you have places and things you've done and heard. I, as an individual, and all these other people here, have an interest or being tired to tell us what we want to do. If I want to commit suicide, I'll go out and find a way of doing it. Take all my guns, I don't care. I'll find a way to do it. That was my decision. It was not my decision to hurt you or anybody else. I don't want to. I want to be left alone. The Constitution says what the Constitution says. And you or anybody else that represent us have no other right than to say, Yes, the Constitution is what it says. And I'll say it again, all this is a beginning and continuation of socialism. And either we stand together or we fail. And you folks here are representing me and them and our future. We can't say, fine, we'll do it next week. But we've listened to our officials say that for years. And especially this year. Well, we'll go to committee, we'll do this or that. No, I as one individual say, damn well next week. Damn well next week. We tell the government, no. Like I said, this is just a basis principle. We're not happy. It's a very personal thing. Some do, some don't. I got my shots, but I don't know if I'm gonna have to take shots every time a government party says I have to take shots. I took my polio shots. I took all that when I was a kid. That was very important and very well clearly put out. This pandemic, another foreign country, another China come along and come up with another one. And don't kid yourself, if they were successful here, they'll be successful in doing it again. You all have to go in with the idea that my Constitution is being violated. You do anything different than that, you don't need to be on this board. You're not representing me. You're not representing my friends. Most importantly, you're denying my future, whether I'm here or not. I want my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren to say, Grandpa, you did what was right. You gave me the rights that you had to make choices. A mandate is a mandate. You listen to the word. Look up in the dictionary. What does mandate say? You will do it. Constitution, no constitution, you'll do it. I'm tired of just having every day, every hour, every afternoon. We have a president that's an idiot. He's not running this country. Anybody who thinks he is running this country, you're nuts. We run this country, and we want to have what we work for. We work for this. Don't deny me that right. Don't deny me that right. Thank you.
Very heated discussions here today, but good. That's what debate's all about, and freedom of speech. I would like these resolutions, especially, I think it's Brendan's, to check out the word employees. That hit me. I don't like employees. I mean, something more broad, like the people, or I don't know. It sounded to me, and I didn't get a copy of it, so I don't know that it's directed at Lapeer County employees or something like that. And I would like it to be more public than that. And I thank you for your time. I thank you for hearing all of us. And I have an appointment. That's why I rushed up here because I had to go. But thank you very much, and see you next week.
Hello again, Jacob Woodwright. I just want to say that, this isn't about, it's about liberty. It's about individual freedoms. It's not about anything else. That's what this country is. It's about liberty, individual freedoms. I'm not afraid of COVID. I'm afraid of the government taking away my freedoms. So give me liberty or give me death. That's all.
I'm amazed that, this is so similar to when we did the Second Amendment thing. We had the same people saying things that anyway, you say that it doesn't matter, that it doesn't have any teeth. To us, we're here, that shows you that it matters to us. So why should you block it if it doesn't matter to you? Mr. Snyder, you say that you bring up about these people that have other opinions. It doesn't matter what their opinion is, it's against the Constitution.
Right.
It shouldn't matter at all. That's my 2 cents.
They're cultists from either way here in the township. Well, 100%, that's awesome. I'm glad you brought it. I do kind of see where you're going with the verbiage. Very frustrating, being that it's today and not 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, whatever it was, but very frustrating. Very disappointed in this board, honest. You guys should have had something, brought it to the public and said, this is what it is, not a back and forth. Mr. Roy, Second Amendment, you say, hey, we send this stuff to Gretchen. All we get is a stupid reply back. Guess what? It worked. Right? Nothing happened with a Second Amendment sanctuary. Right? So therefore.
The Michigan Constitution, thank God, is very strong on the Second Amendment.
Absolutely.
And on my rights and your gun rights.
Absolutely.
And yes, I voted for that Second Amendment.
But you're saying when we send these types of things to the higher up, it doesn't. It does. It has legs. It's saying, listen, these people will not put up with your garbage without your BS anymore. COVID. There's so many different studies and this and that out there. Oh, this person died of COVID. Wait a minute, they're in a car accident. Okay? Well, they had COVID at the time. Well, come on. This guy died of a heart attack. Well, he had COVID at the time. That's why there's so much confusion. We've been lied to, lied to, lied to. How do we trust anyone? It's really simple. Just like everyone else says. I don't know how many times you gotta say it. Follow the Constitution. If it violates a right, you don't go for it. If it doesn't, then there you are. It's that simple.
I have one more comment. I'm Rochelle Yelsey. You got to meet me earlier today. I was surprised that you all said several times that you have no authority. And we're not asking, I know that you said that there's no mandate, and I get that his words, he's not actually enacted into law. He's not actually written anything, the president hasn't, but it has affected people in the service. They're losing, they're having to step down. It's affecting, I've got friends that have been affected, they're having to leave their jobs because whether or not the president has mandated it or actually written it out, people are following it. So that has become a problem. And so we do, and when you say that the resolution has no teeth, I did see the wording that I appreciate that you mentioned, unless legislatively required by law, that does need to be removed because in the resolution, it would be it further resolved, the Lapeer County Commissioners, it goes on, it says, unless legislatively required by law, that probably needs to be removed because it does say that if the law requires it, then you follow it. So I know that you guys are gonna resolve that later on, but we're not asking you to have anything with teeth. We're asking you to stand up. It might be meaningless on the whole, but we as a community, we did elect you as leaders to lead, to be our voice. And I see, I refer back to the Declaration of Independence, and I love it because it is just so well written and so well thought out. And so we have our forefathers that meet together and they go over the grievances they have with the king. And I'm just going to read a couple of parts from it because I just find it intriguing because we're going through it right now with our king or president. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. Further down, he has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people I won't read that part. He sent officers to harass our people. Further on, he says he is affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. Further on, the king was cutting off our trade with all parts of the world. We're seeing that right now with the ships off the coast of California. The king was imposing taxes on us without our consent. We're seeing that too. The king was depriving us in many cases of the benefit of trial by jury. We're seeing that with the January 6th insurrection, quote unquote. Further on, it says, and this is my favorite part, in every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned, the people did. They petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. That's what this all comes down to. It's not that it has teeth, what you're doing. It says that you stand for us. That's what we want. We want you to stand for us in our community here in Lapeer County. Thank you very much. And I would ask that you would look to that next week and would pass this next week to stand for the people of Lapeer County. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm Tom Coleman from Deerfield Township. I hear some of you say that, these resolutions don't have the legal teeth. Where in the Constitution does it say a mandate has legal teeth? Because Gretchen Whitmer says, oh, you gotta wear a mask, we're supposed to obey it. To me, it seems hypocritical. You say that these resolutions and these statements that you guys are duly elected people, I mean, not duly elected, but you're elected by the people to be a voice for us. When you're basically saying that when you speak, your words mean nothing. And the stuff you put in on paper means nothing. Why does the Whitmer or the health department get to come down and say you need to wear a mask, you gotta have a mandate? It's not a law. There's no law. There's a process of law, and that's through legislation. And that, not to my knowledge, that our state legislature controlled by Republicans has made any law. And in fact, they're doing the complete opposite to try to keep it from being law. So I want you guys to, it's not, and as everybody stated, it's not about you guys, it having legal teeth. This country wasn't founded on legality. We fought against the biggest superpower in the world, Great Britain. Do you think that was law? It wasn't law. We did it. It's what the people wanted. I'm not saying we go out and violate federal law, but federal law is not to wear a mask, or there's no federal law that says you have to wear a mask, you have to get a vaccine. They're not laws. A mandate is not a law. And I just, I want you, Brendan, your additions to the resolution I think are great. I don't really care. I don't think anybody cares about the arguing back and forth. Maybe you guys should have came together a little quicker on it. But we want something done. We want to see. We don't want to just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have any legal teeth. You're a voice. And I almost missed this point. Sheriff McKenna stated that this is a Second Amendment county, correct? That's not a law. But I know for a fact that when he's made that statement, the state is less likely to come in here with federal or state police to try to overrun the Lapeer County residents, because they know where the sheriff stands. And when the elected person is in congruency and in agreement with the people, that emboldens us, and then we're more likely to take a stand for what we believe in. And I just want you guys to think about that, and it's not about, again, what you personally think. We've made it clear. Has anybody stood up in here against anything that we've all collectively talked about? No. So I'll leave with that.
I don't have another yellow sheet, but I can fill one out if you'd like one.
I mentioned earlier that the Michigan legislature, or the Senate, and it just passed yesterday, bills saying that they will not, they'll make illegal mandates on masks and vaccines. Now, I know that Kevin Davis is a very good friend of mine. I talk to Kevin a lot, probably more than to my wife. They know, and it'll go through the legislature, and the legislature will pass it to hit Whitmer's desk and it'll get vetoed. They know that's going to happen. just like the reconciliation bill in Congress right now. Now, maybe there's a chance that that won't go through, but there's a lot of other legislation in the last 9 months of this nightmare in this government that has gone through. Republicans stood up against it. Some may call it grandstanding. Josh Hawley, I think it was, tried to file articles of impeachment against Joe Biden. Well, they know that with a Democrat House and Senate, that will never happen. They do it anyway. You might call it symbolism, just as this comment you made, what we're talking about with these resolutions here don't have any teeth. But they do have a very symbolic basis to them that means a lot to us and the citizens and we the people. So I hope you'll take that into consideration, just like you voted for the second amendment to sanctuary. You all voted for it, I believe everybody did. Maybe not, I don't know. I wasn't there for that. I wanted to be there, and I apologize that I wasn't, but nonetheless, it passed. It's symbolic too. So I just hope you all take that into consideration when we take a look at what Rick's trying to do and what Brendan's trying to do, and they're going to come together as a team and put something together for everybody to consider. And even though 3 of you voted not to move that forward, I hope you'll reconsider that and take a real hard look at this, and it's symbolic and no teeth in it that you might think that it doesn't have. That you'll look at what it really does as far as representing us as people and representatives in your districts and the county and the state. Other counties have passed similar resolutions, and I think that that it's time for us to do the same thing for those reasons. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
When one man stands, he stiffens the spines of 100 others. I thank you, Rick. I thank you, Brendan, and others. I know that all of you care about the United States and the people and the Constitution. I don't doubt that for a moment. How we approach it is the differences that we find. I would caution you not to take a poll. At the moment, these all agree on one thing, but I submit that that's not relevant. If 99% of the people agree to tie me down and force an injection into my body, I hope somebody would stand up and say, I think that's unconstitutional. The majority of the people can run roughshod over the minority of the people. I've had this conversation with others. I know that there are people who disagree with the position that I take on mandates. But my position on mandates and your position on mandates isn't relevant. It isn't relevant. And if 99% agree to violate the Constitution, thank God for the Constitution. That's why we have it. A friend of mine said, how do we represent the people who disagree? Same way you represent the people that agree, by supporting the Constitution. That's how you represent the best interests of every single citizen. That's the oath we took. Thank you.
Marathon Township. I'm disappointed today. Pfizer made $32 billion last quarter. How many politicians are they going to buy in Washington and Lansing? I don't think any of you guys are bought yet, and I appreciate that. Listen to the people. Would anybody else like to address this board during the second public time? Hearing and seeing no one, I'll close the second public time. I don't believe we're having a closed session today.
Chairman, I will move that we go into closed session at the conclusion of the meeting for the purpose of leader.
Roll call.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes?
Commissioner Zender,
No.
Commissioner Henning,
Yes.
Commissioner Jarvis,
No.
Commissioner Miller,
I don't even know what the hell we're doing up here.
Well, that's, we do look hard.
Yeah, I know that. But we-
No.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Roy.
No. I believe we have 4 no's and 3 yeses, so we're not going into closed session. Moving on, I guess we can do some commissioner reports if anybody has anything to say without arguing with everybody else.
I'm not gonna argue, we've heard enough, everything, sir. Everybody knows where it stands right now. The gentleman mentioned Pfizer's, how much profit they made, and the mandates and the masking and all the stuff. We hear from the health department, she hears from what she hears from, but it's all coming from the top. And it all comes to the bottom, to the local. When people say it's not local, that's the national talk about. No, it's all coming down to the local. And these companies are making money. We bought up all the vaccines, had them ready, so the population in the United States would have their vaccines. The FDA still hasn't given us the FDA approval on Pfizer. In this country, we do not have it. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy, but everybody's telling me that it is not approved right now, the vaccines you're getting. It's the old one, Calamity or Clam, whatever the name of it is. That's that approved drug. It's not here in the United States. And some people think, well, you're listening too much to Facebook or TikTok or whatever else you can be on, Gab. It's not about that. It's about every American right now should do their homework. Listen to doctors on both sides. Last April, you guys may not remember this, I talked about it, and it was on Facebook, it was on other places. 2 ladies that worked for OSHA, worked there 25 years. 25 years. And you know what their job was? Their job was to study how best to use the mask in these plants. What would get the least particles in? The best one they came up was the N95. And you know what those 2 ladies said? It will not stop coronavirus. They censored these 2 ladies. They're still out there. They still talk. They're censored. We had people at Henry Ford Hospital, frontline doctors, that said use hydroxychloroquine because the president of the United States said to use it. The other side said you can't do that. We got all this money we got to take care of from the WHO and the CDC and the big pharmaceutical corporations. They control all your medicine. And all of our medicine we found was coming from China. So at one point we weren't even sure where to get our medicine. We're like, wait a minute, they tell us to follow the FDA because that's the best way to get it, but don't buy it from another country because it's not as good. But it doesn't even come from our country. So we were listening to all these lies. We have people in the hospital, a young lady mentioned earlier, that we have people in the hospital right now that died for no reason. And I believe that. And I'll tell you why I believe that. We know that hydroxychloroquine has been around for years. They've been using it. I have 2 doctors, personal doctors, that were ordered by our governor not to sell hydroxychloroquine in the beginning. Even if it didn't stop COVID, it was not going to kill the patient, so why wouldn't you try it? That was the only thing you had at the time. I have not heard to this day, I still haven't heard to this day, any official from the health department anywhere tell you, let's talk about treatment. Not one has said it today, but the frontline doctors have been talking about it. And these doctors got on the front steps of the White House. And you know, they're censored to this day. Those doctors did not work at Henry Ford anymore because they lost their job for speaking out. We're in America. This is our Constitution, right? And we should be able to hear the truth on all sides so we can make a wise decision for ourselves. And yes, I agree. It may not have teeth to some of you guys. That resolution said to these people, we stand behind you. I'm a firm believer in that. If you want to be a leader, stand behind your people. If you don't, get out of the seat. That's where I stand. I'll tell anybody, Kevin Daly, Kerry Howell, I don't care who you are, President of the United States. If you're not representing them, you don't belong there. So here, we have people in the hospital. Do you know that remdesivir killed some people? Think about that. You can go online. You guys write this thing down. You can do this for yourself. This isn't Facebook. This isn't any government. These are government agencies I'm going to give you right now. You go to NIH.gov. Type the /table, the word table, and the number 2 and the little e. It'll give you what to use in the hospital for COVID-19. It'll give you a breakdown on them. And this is not the right one here, right here. And it's got the side effects, the adverse effects from remdesivir, the first one. And then it also does mention another one that's approved is ivermectin. You can't even hardly find ivermectin in this county today. In other counties in the state of Michigan. Why is that? We had a governor of Florida who had a monoclonal antibody infusion. He's got stations all around for people to just go in. They don't even need to have COVID. They'll give you that. They know that helps prevent you from getting to the hospital. The purpose of the vaccine in the beginning was, and has changed to this day, was to get the vaccine so that you don't get it as bad. Then there's people all over the world that said, if you get the vaccine and you keep pushing the vaccine, it's going to spread even more COVID, which is what it's doing. So look at the increase in the vaccines and you'll see the increase in the COVID and you wonder what the hell is going on. So and then NAB that I just told you about, you can go on that table and it'll show it to you. You can print it off. This is National Institute of Health. Don't know what happened to our power.
Somebody waved in front of yours.
Press the button.
Somebody hit the button. Yeah, so. But this is a government agency, National Institute of Health, which the doctors follow. I know, but you got to have this. No, not this. I want them people to be aware. I want you to be aware of the facts and the truth, why this even came to the table today. And now we have CMS.gov. Does anybody know what CMS stands for? Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Go down just on their front page of that one section. And they're describing the use of remdesivir. And if they use remdesivir, they get a 20% bonus. It's on their paperwork. It's on your government paperwork. But nobody's talking about that. So we shouldn't be talking mandates. We should be talking treatment. Now we're talking about putting vaccines in kids, which the kids, the odds of dying from COVID, they have more luck to get struck by lightning 3 or 4 times than they do getting COVID. And we're living in fear of our kids or our parents when it was supposed to be the people that were 65 and over to begin with. See how far we've gone with our common sense that we lost? And so when I said the resolution, and don't have no teeth, there was a voice from those people. And because no matter what happens, because we did have legislation pass the bill, but it's not going to get past the governor's desk because they don't listen to law anyway. We have a president of the United States who's not listening to law to this day. We have people who won't even stand up to say, let's investigate those machines for that audit because they are changing inside those machines, but people don't want to believe it because the government said it's not true. We better stop listening to the government and start listening to the people, and let's take this country back. That's where I stand. So I think.
Brian, you have anything you'd like to say today?
Sure. So one thing you guys all need to know, this board can disagree and argue, but I think it's safe to assume from everybody on this board that nobody is in favor of the mandates. That really isn't what is being debated. When it comes to these resolutions, and I'm not a big fan of resolutions. I think that they confuse people. We don't want to give the wrong idea. We don't want to take away authority from our health department for other functions that they have. it's not just to do with COVID-19, okay? So the one thing I think they say that we all agree on is that nobody on this commission is in favor of mandates, you know, making somebody get a shot that they don't want. We want it available to anybody who does want it. So that's it.
Ready?
No, then I want to thank everybody for coming. And again, we all respect and we all appreciate the fact that I think despite how passionate an issue this is for all of us in the community, we really appreciate the fact that everybody conducted themselves, I believe, very respectfully. I wouldn't expect anything less from the Lapeer community. God bless y'all.
Brendan, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I always have something to say.
I know this.
I just want to say first off, I got quite passionate in this last 2 hours. I don't usually get passionate, at least I don't think I do. But I do apologize. I think I swore once or twice in there. Hope I didn't offend anybody. Hope I didn't get anyone triggered or something. But the only thing I just want to add is, I talk a lot about teeth. That's a big thing for me. I've said it probably a couple times. The reason I care about teeth, the reason I care about, sound like a dentist. The reason I care about this stuff is the one thing I hate in politics, and the one thing that when I ran, I want to make sure I never got involved in with politics, is fluff, is political fluff. That's the one thing that always ticked me off. And those people that stand and they say, "Oh, we got to do this, we're going to do that, we're gonna make the world whatever," and they're not going to do it. They have no way of doing it. They just tell everybody so everyone cheers and is happy and is excited. But what are you actually going to do? So, that's my big thing. That's the one thing I've always hated. I hate fluff. I hate just saying something because, you want to make a bunch of people happy. I actually want to do something. But with that being said, I didn't say that I hope that didn't come off wrong, Rick. No, I know your intent was to help people. I do. And I know everyone's intent here is to help people. And that's my intent too. That's why I got into politics. I know it's cheesy and all, but really, I like to help people. That's my mission in life, I feel. I hope we'll work it out. I know we will. I'm sure we'll have a couple more hours upstairs too, figure this out. But seriously, thank you all for coming in and speaking your mind, and see what we got next week. But yeah, just wanted to say that.
I don't have anything to say to you, Dale.
We do have personnel.
Oh, yes, personnel will follow this meeting. We'll do it at 11:30.
And then an ARP meeting after.
I suppose so.
I think we have that agenda.
Is there anything new on the agenda?
A lot of review. Where we're at.
That's fine.
Where we're at in different projects. Couple of quick comments. One, a couple people mentioned that they were thankful to be allowed to be here. You don't have to be thankful. That is your right to be here and express your opinion. And I would never want to see that change, whether we agree with you or not. The second thing is, I guess I'm old enough to remember that there have been times where there have been national emergencies and war, and edicts and mandates and other things were required, and we obeyed them because to get through that temporary situation, we had to do it. It's not impossible for a health situation to arise like it did at the beginning of this pandemic, and you use one philosophy and initially reacting to it and then change. Our government, unfortunately, with the leadership it hasn't changed. So I guess the question is, how can we effectively and legally make them pay attention to the need for change? Thank you. Oh, and on the mundane, I can't resist, go green. Thanks for the Spartan fans.
See, there's two sides to every story out there.
I'm sure.
I think enough has been said.
I think we need to close the meeting.
And get on our way.
Well, we're approaching November. We're approaching Veterans Day. We're approaching the Marine Corps birthday, which is gonna be on the 10th. Veterans Day is the 11th. When we talk about freedoms, I want everybody to make sure they look out there and thank the people who fought in World War II to save this country, in Korea, and how this country turned on the people that fought in Vietnam. I remember that, and they did. They sent 58,000 people to their deaths, young men, and they all sat back here protesting the war. And I watched some of them people like John Kerry, who's now in this government, sit there and throw his medals from Vietnam in the mall. We got some real trash running this country right now. I probably shouldn't say that, but I mean it. So, I understand this is a point. I understand the Constitution, but we've been ignoring the Constitution for 50 years. And all of a sudden now, we're all waking up and saying, hey, what have we been doing? Yeah, what have we been doing? And now they did it again. They've got us divided. They've got the whole country divided. Over these mandates, over everything else, they're doing a good job to keeping us all divided too. So, I wish you all well. Be careful going home. And thank you for coming today.